17 years ago, HBO first entered the business of professional boxing. Since then, over 100 different fighters have been featured. The faces of the 70s included Sugar Ray Leonard, Larry Holmes, and Jerry Cooney. We'd see them again in the 80s with Hagler and Hearns, Camacho and Chavez, Tyson and Nunn. The new star of the 90s has been James Buster Douglas. And tonight, the tradition continues as we add two more champions in our third decade of boxing coverage. Norfolk, Virginia's Pernell Whitaker is the IBF and WBC lightweight champion. He first gained recognition as a gold medalist at the 1984 Olympics. One of boxing's most exciting fighters, the speedy southpaw was the choice of boxing writers as Fighter of the Year for 1989. Now with only one defeat in his professional career, Whitaker puts his title on the line against Azumah Nelson, the WBC super featherweight champion. After 11 years as a professional with a near-perfect record, Nelson's experience, power, and punishing approach make an intriguing matchup between two warriors of contrasting styles and backgrounds. So join us now from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we'll present the lightweight championship battle between Pernell Whitaker and Azumah Nelson. Tonight, World Championship Boxing comes to you live from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. As HBO Sports presents Pernell Whitaker defending his IBF and WBC lightweight titles against the WBC super featherweight champion Azumah Nelson. It's scheduled for 12 rounds. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. It's our pleasure to welcome you inside the arena here, where we'll have a full house in the indoor arena at Caesars Palace, here on the grounds of the facility that has meant so much in the recent history of boxing. And hello, I'm Jim Lampley. It's our pleasure to welcome you here for a chance to look at two outstanding champions in the sport whom you have not previously seen on HBO. Both Pernell Whitaker and Azumah Nelson would make a lot of lists of 10 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and there's a lot of reason to be intrigued about this matchup between them. As we turn to our HBO analyst, Larry Merchant, we start with the topic of Pernell Whitaker, a young man, Larry, who has already accomplished a great deal in the sport, Olympic gold medal, 2 world titles. Why does this bout present a special challenge for him?
Well, it's a chance to show whether he's a prime-time player, a chance to look good against a smaller, older, slower champion. And if you think you've heard that scenario before, it's only because you have. When last month, the middleweight champion Michael Nunn blew his chance to look good against the welterweight champion Marlon Starling. Will Whitaker seize the chance? Confession. Prize fight fans and judges who I respect think that Whitaker is a terrific fighter. They sing his praises. Wonderful, wonderful, and yet again, wonderful. But I'm not that convinced. I whisper his praises. But if he can dominate Azumah Nelson, who at his best was probably the best fighter you never saw, then I'll be glad to join the chorus.
Older indeed, slower, perhaps not as fast, but you left out punching power, and that's where Nelson may have an edge. We turn to our expert, Ray Leonard. Larry made the analogy between this fight and Starling-Nunn. Marlon Starling ultimately wasn't able to do much in the ring with Nunn, but will Nelson's punching power give him a chance to do something that Starling couldn't?
Well, Jim, normally when a guy moves up in weight, he normally faces a guy that's bigger, stronger, and sometimes taller than he is. In this case here, both men, Azumah Nelson and Pernell Whitaker, are relatively the same size. I don't really compare this fight to Starling and Michael Nunn, because the thing about Azumah Nelson is the fact that he's more determined, is a lot more committed than Marlon Starling.
But tonight he goes against a Pernell Whitaker who is indeed, as Larry points out, regarded by many as one of the very best in the sport and having a tremendously bright future. He's only lost once. That loss was regarded as a robbery. A closer look now at Sweet Pea Whitaker. When he was growing up in the Young's Park projects of Norfolk, Virginia, Pernell Whitaker turned to boxing. His life was tough, and only in the ring could he be so in control, in command, in charge. Now Little Pete has become Sweet Pea, the world champion. He's become someone to look up to in Norfolk.
You guys were listening, you guys were zooming in on me, and you guys got the message. Is that if you work hard and you believe in yourself, and only you know that you can be the best you can be. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for your inspiration. Appreciate it.
To the people of Norfolk's public housing projects, Sweet Pea Whitaker is more than just an inspiration. He's part of the family. It was here that Whitaker spent the first 20 years of his life. He's gotten out, but he hasn't forgotten.
It's rough now, and it was rough back then, and I beat it. You know, you can beat the street, but I still feel like I'm part of this project. I will always feel like I'm part of this project because this is what I call home.
Yeah, that's me too, though. Yeah. That's right. Like that camera phone.
This is real, you know. This is real life, you know. And we are all so close together that we have to love each other. That's why I never can wait to get in there to perform, because I know who's watching. You know, I know everybody out in the project that I grew up, as well as all the other projects. I know everybody's going to be zoomed in to cheer me on.
Yeah, he's been coming out about a couple years now.
And I can feel that tension when I'm in the ring. I can feel it come through the cameras, that the people are watching, everybody's watching me. It's showtime.
A now wealthy Pernell Whitaker still feels at home in the projects, but he's most comfortable in the ring. That's the place to show the world what he can do.
Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, when those guys are highlights, you know. And when they do their thing, they're showmen, they're entertainment. And that's what I love to do. And people are now realizing that that's part of me.
Sweet Pea Whitaker and Rovonda Anthony getting married here in the ring. We've got about 3,000 people looking on, and they're going to do it live right here in the middle of the ring.
In the ring, Pernell Whitaker tries to marry style with creativity. His quickness is unparalleled, and it shows up in several ways. Most notably, his ability to get away from his opponents, frustrating them with his so-called disappearing act. It's all part of Pernell's show. Whitaker's most memorable single moment occurred in a fight with Roger Mayweather in 1987. Mayweather was having trouble keeping his trunks on. A cocky Sweet Pea was only too happy to expose Roger's talents for the world to see.
I try to pull his shorts down. I try to pull them off him, really, because they wasn't up on him anyway. I just try to give him a little help. I needed that extra second to breathe anyway. That's one thing about me. You never know what you're going to get out of me. I'm in there to have some fun. If it can make the crowd laugh, the crowd laugh. I'm just the type of guy that likes to entertain the crowd. You know, when people don't go to the icebox, then I'm doing very well. You know, I see when I'm fighting, I don't see anybody. I even look up in the concession stand to see if anybody buying a beer or something. You know, if they're not buying that beer, I know they're watching me.
From the poverty of the projects to Olympic and world champion, Pernell Whitaker has a growing following as one of the world's best fighters. And we bring you back live to the indoor arena at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, where HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing. WBC and IBF lightweight champion Pernell Whitaker defending his title against Azumah Nelson, world super featherweight champion, moving up 5 pounds in class. Nelson regarded as the harder puncher of the two. And for more on him and his background coming out of Ghana on the west coast of Africa, our Larry Merchant.
Before Azumah Nelson, there were 2 champions from Africa who left a mark on boxing. So first, a little bit of history. Battling Siki was a light heavyweight champion in the early 20s. He was raised by a French actress, spoke 5 languages, paraded around Paris with a leopard on a leash, was made famous by winning a fight he was supposed to dump, came to America and was shot dead at the age of 25 in the streets of New York. Dick Tiger was a middleweight and light heavyweight champion in the 60s, and he lost all of his money and all of his property in a bloody revolution back home. He wound up as a guard in the Museum of Natural History in New York and died of natural causes in his 30s. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, of course, they're good stories, but also because there's a certain mystique about African fighters, that somehow they're different than others, somehow perhaps that they're doomed, fated to have things go wrong for him. And there doesn't seem any much possibility that that applies to Azumah Nelson, despite the strenuous efforts of Don King to convince us that he found Nelson running wild in the bush, chasing lions with his bare hands. In fact, he was raised in a city of 4 million. His father was a tailor, and he himself owns a trucking company with 12 18-wheelers. And like battling Siki and Dick Tiger, he can fight.
On the surface, they appear an odd couple. One is a boxer who overcame the poverty of the streets. The other a professor who benefited from the wealth of a family of diplomats. But despite their differing backgrounds, Dr. Oko Kwatikwe is not only Azumah Nelson's manager, he's also his best friend.
My relationship with Dr. Oko is incredible. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm very happy to get somebody like him, you know, because, you know, he feels for me and I feel for him.
That boy's a killer. You know, throughout the years, I've developed this relationship with Azumah, and I think nobody can take that away from us now. And everybody in boxing realizes that, because everywhere I go, if they call Azumah, they call me. If they call me, they call Azumah. As a matter of fact, back home, most people think I'm his father.
Back home, for both Nelson and Dr. Oko, is Ghana's capital city of Accra. It is here, on a West Coast African beach, that Azumah and his trainer, Jose Buffalo Martin, are once again preparing to go into battle. Throughout his career, Azumah Nelson has been likened to an African warrior. Since he comes from Ghana, it's an inevitable analogy, but it's one Azumah would like to lay to rest.
Accra is like New York. A lot of people, a lot of traffic. You cannot see tiger, you know, you cannot see tiger in Accra. Or, you know, if you go into the bush, you can't see tiger. You see tiger in the zoo.
Another thing you can't see in Accra is a world championship bout. For that, Azumah and Dr. Oko have to leave Africa, and this has limited the reach of Nelson's reputation.
You have to have a home base. Azumah doesn't have a home base. I try to promote him, you know, back home, and I always lose money. But, you know, traveling to people's backyard, fighting here, there, you don't have a home base. So you can't even build the support. It bothers him, but there's not much he can do about it, because I believe that that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be.
It's been that way ever since a then unknown Nelson came to America to fight Salvador Sanchez in 1982. At the time, many considered Sanchez the world's best boxer, but the fight turned out a lot closer than anyone would have expected. Eventually, Sanchez prevailed, but in losing, Azumah Nelson gained a tremendous amount of respect. Sometimes he misses Sanchez, who died in an automobile accident soon after that fight.
That's what pains me, that Sanchez died. But he rests in peace, though. He's a good fighter. He's a good boxer. It pains me that he dies, because I have to prove to him that nobody can beat me.
Over the years, Nelson has been able to establish his invincibility in the ring. But it is outside the ring where Nelson has turned out to be a bigger winner, both in his friendship with Dr. Oko and his relationship with his countrymen in Ghana.
Azumah has a quality which you have to understand. He's a very sympathetic guy because of his background. He relates to the poor. He still hasn't forgotten where he came from, which to me is a very, very good quality.
I wish one day you come to Ghana and see how popular I am, you know, how the people love me. If I lose, I don't care, but I care for my people. You know how the way you people love your American flag, that's the same way I love my flag too, because I'm from Ghana. You know, I cannot let my flag down. You know, if I let my flag down, I let my people down.
And now Azumah Nelson prepares to enter the ring for the bout for which he says he has trained harder than for any other since his knockout victory over Wilfredo Gomez 6 years ago. Gave him his first world championship.
In a sense, Ray, he's like Tommy Hearns before your fight with him. Some of the previous fights didn't mean much to him, didn't train that seriously. A lot of people thought he was on his way out. And yet, when faced with a real challenge, a mountain he wanted to climb, he got into great shape. And that could be the case with Nelson.
This is like a stimulant for Azumah Nelson. He's really motivated and committed to win this fight.
He has not lost a bout in more than 7 years since the loss to Salvador Sanchez. And he has elected tonight to enter the ring without a robe because, he told us, he wanted to have the look and feel of an African warrior coming into the ring.
The note about that loss to Sanchez. Sanchez, as you said, regarded as one of the great featherweight champions of modern times. Nelson took that fight on 2 weeks' notice as a replacement, and it was only his 14th professional fight, and yet he gave a terrific account of himself.
Azumah Nelson is 31 years old. He has had 33 professional fights. The loss to Sanchez was his only loss. He waited 2 or 3 years in the middle 1980s for what was expected to be a big payday against the Irishman Barry McGuigan. Because of the roadblocks that befell McGuigan's career, it never came off. This will be the biggest paycheck of his career. And to make it successful, well, let's see. Here's Ray Leonard with his tips of the night.
Well, Jim, I expect a great fight here. And to be a good fight, one thing about it, Azumah Nelson must establish a good, strong jab. And the reason for this is to break the rhythm of Pernell Whitaker. Don't allow Pernell to dictate the tempo of this fight. He needs to throw his combinations and dip. And when I say dip, I mean to slip under, like he's doing there. Get under this man's punches. Azumah Nelson had problems with southpaws. He must be aware of the right hook. And one thing about Pernell Whitaker, he throws a lot of left hooks, right hooks rather. And Pernell Whitaker can't get too comfortable. He must keep that chin down and be aware of the counterattack from Azumah Nelson's. The body shots, those are great shots. But the thing I love the most are the uppercuts. And you will see these things being very effective down the stretch. He must also make Azumah Nelson reach in. And with the speed and hand and foot speed, he can do this very easily. A counter. That's a beautiful, beautiful shot. Beautiful move. Should be a great fight.
So now Nelson is in the ring, surrounded by his handlers. Pernell Whitaker has had 22 professional fights. The only loss, the disputed decision to Jose Luis Ramirez in Paris. Later, he avenged that with a lopsided, unanimous decision in Norfolk, Virginia. One of 2 big fights last year in which Whitaker was seen by 2 of 3 judges to win all 12 rounds. That was the case against Ramirez and also against former IBF champion Greg Haugen, from whom Whitaker won that title. Tail of the tape, and you can see that Whitaker is younger, a half-inch taller, has 5 inches more reach than Nelson. They are comparable in size, but where there are edges, they belong to Pernell Whitaker.
And here's our punch stat numbers to give you a profile of how active these fighters are. In the compilation of their last 3 fights, as you can see, Whitaker threw about 10 more punches around and landed more punches than Nelson, but that's because he throws more jabs, and we'll show you those numbers, and here you can see them. Whitaker depends on the jabs. Nelson tries to hurt you with harder stuff.
Rules for tonight's bout: 3 judges will score the fight on the 10-point must. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule, and you can be saved by the bell in the last round only. Right now we go up to ring announcer Chuck Hull for pre-fight introductions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Caesars Palace Sports Pavilion, where tonight main events monitor Dan Duva, President, and Don King Productions, in association with Caesars Palace, presents World Championship Boxing. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Dr. James Nave, Chairman. The commissioners at ringside are Dwayne Ford, Dr. Elias Ghanem, Jay Nady, and Luther Mack. The executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission is Chuck Minker. Representing the International Boxing Federation at ringside is Mr. Bob Lee, the president of that organization from New Jersey, and the supervisor at ringside, Mr. Al Goodman of Florida. Representing the WBC at ringside, Jose Suleiman of Mexico City, its president, and its supervisor, Roy Van Putten of the island of Aruba. The officials assigned by the governing bodies for the next bout of the evening. The judges will be Dalby Shirley of Las Vegas, Nevada, Harry Gibbs of England, and Sid Nathan of England. The timekeeper is Jane Broadfoot. Counting at the knockdowns, Mike Morabito. The attending physicians at ringside, Drs. Flip Pomansky and William Berliner. And your referee is Mills Lane. This is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF WBC Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing, in the red corner, fighting out of Accra, Ghana, weighing in at 134 pounds, with a professional record of 32 wins, 1 defeat, with 24 KOs. He is the WBC Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Azumah, the Warrior, Nelson. And in the blue corner, from Norfolk, Virginia, weighing an even 135 pounds. His professional record consists of 21 wins, 1 defeat, with 12 KOs. He is the IBF WBC Lightweight Champion of the World, Pernell Whitaker.
Now, all right, now look, if he goes right here, I'm not going to call it low, okay? Now, protect yourself at all times. You've already had your instruction in the dressing room. Any questions from the challenger or chief second? Okay. Any questions from the champion or chief second? Let's get it on. Come on. All right.
Jim and Ray, fighters in the smaller divisions often lose it in their late 20s because quickness is so important to them. So I think the main question here is, how much of his old quickness has Nelson been able to summon, to stay up to and to try to catch this wraith in front of him?
Pernell Whitaker, unquestionably one of the quickest fighters in the sport. Mills Lane, in his 41st professional fight, wants it to start exactly right. Both fighters looked happy and comfortable in the minutes leading up to their pre-fight instructions from referee Mills Lane. These are two proven stars of the sport, no strangers to the spotlight. Whitaker begins with 3 straight jabs, and Nelson goes to the body.
And what's going to give Nelson the speed, because at a certain age you do lose a little speed or what have you, but I think it depends on how much you want to win. And Azumah Nelson, he wants to win this fight so bad. He wants to do it for his people.
Nelson told us yesterday he fully expected to have to stalk Whitaker around the ring. And he said he would have no compunction about chasing the slightly bigger Whitaker. And that's what it took.
Now you see what Azumah Nelson is doing. He's actually trying to walk down Pernell. Let him throw his punches because he feels that Pernell cannot hurt him. There's the dip I was talking about earlier with Azumah Nelson. As he gets inside, he takes a dip. He goes under the punches of Pernell Whitaker.
Whitaker also likes to dip his head low. There's a chance for an accidental bunt here tonight. 2 fighters who will go down when they're in close. Whitaker establishing the jab.
You know, with Azumah Nelson. He's always had problems with southpaws. And the key is to keep your left foot outside his right foot. Because a lot of times you throw punches, you're off balance. So the key for Azumah Nelson is keep that left foot on the outside of Pernell Whitaker's right foot.
You saw Whitaker, who often likes to showboat, patting Nelson on the butt after he had turned the super featherweight champ around. Nelson has been regarded sometimes in the past as a headhunter, but he appears conscious of wanting to go to the body as he comes inside here.
Yesterday, talking with Pernell, that him and Lou Duva, they stated the fact that he's not going to run anymore. He's just going to give angles. And this is what he's doing now. He caught Azumah with a pretty good left hand there because he's giving angles, side and side, lateral movement.
Whenever Nelson releases the right, Pernell is trying to come back over the top with the left hand. He's been effective with it so far.
Those are the counter punches that I spoke of earlier, Jim. He makes Azumah Nelson reach in and he counters with it. This is going to make all the difference in this fight, speed. If Pernell keeps this kind of tempo up, he can make an easy fight out of this.
So far, he's been able to stick and step away, stick and step away. Good round for Pernell Whitaker.
Now you see where you're the champ of the world, baby.
Listen. You just keep doing just what you're doing, Jordan. You understand? Just keep him looking for you. Now listen, relax. You got him covered. You understand? Now he's swinging at you. Now, how you feel about it?
I feel good.
Okay. Now you got him covered. Now look, this is as good as this guy's going to get. You know why? Because of what you're doing, Jordan. Now don't change. Okay. You understand? When you get close, just grab him up, walk him. You understand?
Walk. Let's go inside. Couple of combination. Inside in man.
Okay, sir.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I thought that was an impressive round for Whitaker because it showed his evolution from a fighter who used to fight with his legs, just running and stabbing, to now using his quickness to get into punching position, not just bicycling around.
So now he realized that he could hit a man without moving so far back, because if moving far back, he's really not in a position to hit your man or counter him.
Azumah Nelson told us that he would not throw the jab much in this fight, an admission that he's not particularly interested in trying to box with Whitaker. He wants to make him fight. In the first round, Nelson only threw 4 jabs, but Whitaker threw 45 of them.
This is not really a good tactic for Azumah Nelson, because in walking in with this type of style, he's going to be subjecting himself to a lot of punches. You must appreciate the hand speed of Pernell Whitaker. So every time Azumah Nelson comes in to block shots, he's also losing points.
Nelson manages to land a combination along the ropes as he tries to pick up the tempo. Whitaker comes back with a straight jab and a left to the ribcage.
Most people didn't see what happened in the corner. Pernell Whitaker, after he was able to spin Azumah, he threw a short shot to the midsection, and it kind of bothered Azumah.
He also grabbed Nelson's thigh and tried to lift it up. Was he trying to annoy him?
He's trying to overpower him and frustrate him too. Fighting a guy that can box is tough enough, but when you fight a southpaw who does everything from the opposite side, it's very difficult, especially if he's a good boxer with good lateral movement. Like Michael Nunn, it's tough to fight a guy like Michael Nunn because of his movement.
Nelson had some trouble in the early rounds with a southpaw named Lupe Suarez.
A tough time, Jim. As a matter of fact, he's having a tough time here against Pernell.
Whitaker throwing the punch behind his to Nelson's face after he had locked his head under his arm. The crowd responded with warm humor.
On the outside, Azumah has no chance against Pernell because of the hand speed and the boxing talent, the movement. Look at this, he's able to spin this man around.
Nelson missed with the left hook.
Un poquito corta ahí. Un poquito de vaselina. No, no. It's nothing. It's like, it's nothing. You worry a little bit, okay? No worry, ma. Stay side.
Close to him, see? And turn him, see? When he starts charging. You know what I mean? Now, you're doing a good job. When you go down, hands up, fire low. What did the referee say to you? Something about this?
That's okay, dude.
Don't worry. Keep it going.
Let's take a look at that unusual punch. I don't know if Whitaker will qualify for prime time, but a few more of those backhands and he may qualify for Wimbledon.
Here we go, come on, here we go.
Incidentally, most of the instructions in Whitaker's corner are being delivered not by Lou Duva, but by George Benton, who is the great guru of defense for most of Duva's fighters.
What's making this tough for Azumah Nelson also is the fact that if you notice, Pernell Whitaker goes way down too. That was a good right hand, pretty good right hand by Azumah Nelson. But what I was saying early, Pernell gets down low too. It makes it tough to land a punch.
With the arms crossed and crouching over as he comes in, Nelson offers an interesting reminder of a heavyweight fighter. Ken Norton used to assume that crab-like posture coming in.
Well, actually, this is the same tactic that George Foreman used against Jerry Cooney, with those hands crossed. But what happens is it takes another second or so to throw a combination.
Come on.
Ray, do you think this is a sign of early desperation that he's unable to get to Whitaker and he's trying anything he can to try to bully him?
Well, first of all, Azumah Nelson has problems with southpaws anyway, and because of the hand and foot speed of Pernell Whitaker, this is very frustrating trying to cope with this kind of style.
Whitaker landing solidly with counter punches as Nelson opens up a little more, releasing his hand more to try to get in. And Nelson takes advantage of a chance to hit Whitaker while he's down on his knee.
That's Azumah Nelson's best chance to turn this into a street brawl. Get inside, make Pernell fight him, just fight him. And I hope he lands a big punch. And that's
He
what he's
landed a
doing
right
now.
hand there. Nelson is starting to get a little bit more effective inside, and he's going less to the body and more to the head now.
Well, Pernell is not hurting him, and he understands that he feels that he can hurt Pernell Whitaker.
You've seen how slick Whitaker can be. Now you're starting to see how tough Nelson is. Nelson says, come on, keep throwing that jab at me. I'll take that all night. Whitaker obliges.
Well, yesterday we talked to Azumah about taking jabs. He said, I'll take a jab to get inside and throw my punches. So these jabs apparently are not bothering him. But they're scoring points.
They'll show up on the scorecard. But when it was suggested to Azumah that he'd take a lot of jabs, he just smiled and said, don't worry.
Come on, together, come on.
Okay? Now pressure and push it beautiful. Right, let's go, baby. Don't worry about it. Give me vaseline, that's okay. Vaselina. Don't worry. That's yours, Tom. That's yours. That's okay. Take your time. It's okay, it's okay.
Move so much. Just take him stand, but let him come.
because he's swinging. See me? Hey, look. See, even though you're moving, you're still where he's at.
Yeah.
Got it, Ace.
You understand what I'm saying? You still right there. So just take your time. Take it. Let him fire. Let him fire. What if I making this, and then cut him around where else?
Let's take a look at Whitaker. The right didn't land, but the left landed flush. Already in the corner, Ray, they were using an end swell on the right eye of Whitaker, which means he's catching too many of those jabs, and it could tell later in the fight. And his main hope, the way he's fighting here, is to try to wear Whitaker down and come on in the second half of the fight.
Are you saying they were using the end swell on Nelson?
I'm sorry, on Nelson.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's the man who's been taking a lot of jabs, as you saw from the punch count statistics. Azumah Nelson only threw 17 jabs in the first 3 rounds, and Whitaker threw nearly 150 of them.
I think Azumah Nelson's trying to wait for Pernell to wear himself out, or slow down, rather. But his corner, Azumah Nelson's corner, don't agree with that. They want him to throw more punches, get inside, and be a little more effective. That are more effective on a southpaw than actually the left hook and the right hand, because it comes from the blind side.
And the left hook is probably Nelson's best punch anyway.
But as you know, Jim, he has worked his way in, because what he's doing now, he's actually on the receiving end, because he's walking straight to his man. He needs to take that dip.
He is, to use the parlance of the sport, eating the jab to get inside. Again. Whitaker splitting Nelson's defense with the jab.
You have a pretty good picture of this right now. What's happening with Azumah Nelson? He's actually following his man around. He's not cutting the ring off. He's following him around the ring.
Okay, both you guys watch your heads. Now you're going to get a butt. Come on.
Whitaker chopping away. This is the most dominant round so far.
Now, once again, you notice that Azumah's just walking. It's pretty much a dance. He's just following his man around the ring.
It's a losing strategy unless he can find a way to hurt Pernell. He believed before the fight that he could.
What's going to happen? Pernell Whitaker's been throwing some pretty good body shots here. And you should see a great deal of change in Azumah Nelson.
Whitaker opting to lead with the left, and he lands with that also. The jabs are still going straight up the middle and splitting the defense. Great round for Pernell Whitaker.
Look, when you get close to him, don't grab him. See, because he's swinging. You don't have to grab him. Now listen to me. Now look, I want you to be calm, settle down. You understand? The guy is just swinging at you. All you got to do is just duck the punches, catch the punches. But try to duck them. Don't catch too many. And just take your time. Now, he carries you a little too fast that round. Don't let him put you in play. You understand? Just take steps. Because he's just swinging at you. You can stand right there and let him swing.
Okay, Harold, how do you score the fight so far?
Larry, I've got it 4-0, 40-36 in favor of Pernell Whitaker. I think that he just kept getting through the curb like defensive Azumah Nelson, constantly with that right jab, pecking away. It was all Pernell Whitaker so far in the first 4 rounds with the jab and the left uppercuts.
So far, the fight hasn't been competitive. And yet, in an odd way, there is passion in it, because it's so clear that Azumah Nelson is trying hard. He's trying to get at him. He's not conceding. He feels that if he continues, sooner or later he'll catch him.
And of course, you have to believe there's no quit in Azumah Nelson. You wonder how much of this it will take to discourage him, though.
What you're going to notice this round in front of Whitaker, he won't move as much, yet he'll step and throw more combinations. Side to side, do a lot of spinning. Get on the opposite end of his man, so his guy can't hit him. A lot of upper body movements.
Well, you heard George Benton telling him between rounds, he's just swinging at you. You can stand and let him swing at you. Don't walk away so much.
And don't catch as many because they'll wear you down eventually. Now this is pretty much where Pernell Whitaker would want. Good right hand by Azumah Nelson. This is pretty much where Pernell Whitaker wants Azumah Nelson. Because Azumah Nelson's starting to reach in now. Body shots by Pernell Whitaker.
Step back, please. Here we go.
Every time Nelson stalks in resolutely to try to pursue the attack, Whitaker stings him with 2 or 3 jabs.
This is a very good fight for Pernell. He's fighting when he wants to fight. Good left hand. Good straight left hand by Pernell.
Well, he's done the same thing against tough opponents before.
Well, now he's on a new program, Pernell Whitaker is, with weights. And I really can't tell if it's making that much of a difference because he's yet to land a big punch on Azumah Nelson to make Azumah Nelson buckle. Azumah Nelson has a pretty good chin, too, so that may be the reason.
Nelson has been down only against Salvador Sanchez in his entire career. 33 fights. Whitaker was knocked down by Rafael Williams early in his career and then later by Roger Mayweather when Mayweather was infuriated after Whitaker pulled his shorts down. Mayweather's a big puncher. You don't have to be embarrassed by going down against him.
Listen, man. No more around like this, okay? Fight! Motherfucker, fight! Okay? You don't fight now. Only time like stupid. You had the time more intelligent like this man. What happened with you, man? So I need this like motherfucker, Azumah. You waited all that you like for this time, okay? No missing this time, Azumah. Fight! This man come down, you sit down too. Listen to me. Give me the water. Listen to me. Fight! You don't got a blow, man? Let's go. The man sit down, you sit down too. The man put you full price. Let's go. It's a fucking disco dance, man. You're the champion. Let's go.
You know, sometimes this work as a negative to a fight to hear this kind of stuff. I mean, sometimes it's a positive, but this time I believe it's a negative because you saw the expression on Azumah Nelson's face.
And as Larry made the point a round ago, it's not as if he isn't trying.
But at least he knows what his trainer thinks about what's going on.
No secrets. It's one of those no secrets relationships. That was Jose Buffalo Martin. For a time in his career, trained Julio Cesar Chavez. He's had his hands on 2 of the greatest in the sport. Left and a right, solid from Whitaker. Following up. Very little that Nelson can do against that kind of hand speed and instinct.
And again, it becomes a negative from his corner's instructions and demands the fact that he gets a little too careless with Azumah Nelson.
Good body shot from Nelson. Slowed Whitaker for just a second. Pernell comes back with body shots of his own.
See, this happens all the time with the southpaw. You can't maintain your balance. It's tough to maintain your balance because the guy's doing everything from the other side.
Good job. You got 2 hands free.
Now all Pernell needs to do is step to the side and drop a left hand. Pivot to the left side and drop a left hand. try to counter there.
Early in his career, Pernell Whitaker was up on his toes and his punches were insubstantial. That's not true anymore.
No, in fact, he's getting a lot of leverage behind his punches, settled down, and again, he's becoming much more of a complete boxer and puncher.
Right hand made the sweat fly off of Nelson's skull. Left to the body. Whitaker comes at you from all angles. Countering effectively against just about everything Nelson throws.
Jimmy hit it right on the head. Whitaker comes at you from all angles. He throws shots in the butt, to the left side, the right side, up the middle. He is so quick, he gets away with so much because of his hand speed. And he uses those shoulders so well.
Oh, hey, look at my right. Come on.
Give me the water. Put the water in the face. Put the water in the hand.
Now listen,
Give me hand.
you see how you're handling him now? Now look. That's the guy can do. The guy's going downhill. He's going downhill now. I want you to just
Lean on that bell.
All right, there is a straight left hand by Whitaker. And what's impressive about Ray, is he's using his quickness now to get into good punching position.
You see him coming now. Get on him. And keep your hands busy.
Keep those hands up, baby, and those ribs you can't miss.
Now look, now's the time you use your body and steal it with the big.
We're halfway through this fight, which reminds me, gentlemen, of a story that Whitaker told us yesterday, that when he went to college at Norfolk State for a semester, he took a course in accounting. And after the mid-semester exam, which he got a C, he quit the course. He thought it was all over. Just cut it short. But right here, he knows he's only midway through the 12th round.
Even if it wasn't true, it's the way a lot of us felt about accounting, right? C would be good enough for me.
Right, he figured out, he found a profession where someone else could do his taxes.
Azumah Nelson's coming on now.
Nelson landed a left hand that backed Whitaker up.
This may be all he needed to get into the fight. Good right hand
landed by Nelson. And suddenly Whitaker is not throwing back. Now here he comes.
So Azumah's turned this into a street fight, which he should have been doing earlier.
Whitaker again grabs Nelson under the thigh. Mills Lane has told him he doesn't like that. See how much energy for this renewed assault Nelson has.
That's a chant, zoom, zoom, from the Ghanaians who are here rooting for their champion.
It was the first chance they've had to chant anything in this bout other than, oh no.
Azumah now is starting to land some right hands. Not big right hands, but he's starting to find his target.
Selection of the bout has changed slightly. And it's worth noting that Pernell Whitaker has never knocked anyone out beyond round 6. Azumah Nelson has worn down several opponents and knocked them out in the later rounds.
This is an incredible pace here. This is more so in the favor of Azumah Nelson. Because now he can land his big shots.
Chopping away. And now Whitaker dropping his hands a bit inside and giving Nelson a chance to land the left hook.
The reason that Pernell Whitaker's tying this man up is to get a breather here.
Best round of the fight by far for Azumah Nelson.
And you have to love Azumah Nelson for the effort he's giving us and giving himself.
And incidentally, gentlemen, we want to remind our viewers that World Championship Boxing continues next month on HBO with a heavyweight doubleheader. Mike Tyson making his return to the ring after his shocking loss to Buster Douglas will face Henry Tillman, who twice defeated Tyson when they were amateurs. Also fighting George Foreman. Since coming out of retirement, he's won 21 fights and lost none. His opponent, Jose Adelson Rodriguez, probably the toughest number on Foreman's dance card since his return to the ring. So be sure to join us June 16th for a live doubleheader featuring two of the biggest names in boxing today, Mike Tyson and George Foreman. That'll be right here in Las Vegas.
All right, let's take a look at those big punches landed in this round. The first one by Nelson, there it is. A right followed by a left drove Whitaker back,
All right, here we go.
but he was well within himself.
Mills Lane giving Whitaker a little extra time to get out of his corner as round 8 begins. And Nelson picks up where he left off in round 7.
You know, that Azumah Nelson's picked the tempo of the fight up, which he should have been doing in the earlier rounds, because that would have made the difference by now. You would have seen some results, but it's kind of a little too late. Although if he's able to land a big punch and turn the tables, something might happen. But you notice, Jim, because he's fighting inside more, Azumah Nelson, he's landing more shots.
Of course, he runs the risk of taking even more, but what does it matter? He's proven that he's going to take punishment, whether outside or inside.
He would take more shots on the outside, like he just took a left hand there, as opposed to being inside. Inside, he has a better chance because he appears to be a little stronger and carries a better punch than Pernell Whitaker.
Inside, he has the chance to initiate the action. Outside, he's always being beaten to the punch.
Exactly, because on the inside, he has a chance of being able to counter one of Pernell Whitaker's right hand there. Good right hand by Azumah Nelson.
Whitaker still snapping Nelson back with the jab. There's a little mouse under the left eye now of Pernell Whitaker. Probably from one of those right hands.
I guess you noticed that the style of Azumah Nelson has changed. As opposed to his arms being crossed, he now puts both hands in front of him. His style of fight has changed since the earlier round. More the conventional way. That's some beautiful movement by Pernell Whitaker when he gets out of the corner. All he does is pivot.
Starting to assert himself again now within the last 20 seconds.
I thought that was Whitaker's most impressive round because he took some punches as he had in the previous round, and yet he's still firing.
Free focus combination. You know what I mean? Bang, 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 bang. You understand? He can't punch because you're throwing too many punches at him, right? Settle down. Don't let him carry too fast now. Yeah. Inhale, baby. Inhale. Sometimes if you charge it, fall right on his chest. So you know what I mean? Like when you fall back and he comes through, fall right up on his chest. Okay. But when you fall, open up. Bang, bang, bang. So he can't take off. So it ain't got to be hard. Just busy. Right? All right, now you're winning like a son today.
Sam, now it's time for war. Agua. Come on. Agua. More water.
Harold Letterman,
Sam, it's time for war.
your scorecard.
Larry, I've got it 80-72, 8 rounds to nothing in favor of Pernell Whitaker. I think that the closest Azumah even came to winning a round was possibly the 7th, where he tried to rush Pernell, but Pete keeps picking him off with the right hand. Every time Azumah rushes in, Pete nails him with a right jab and a straight left.
Well, I disagree with you, Harold, to this extent. I gave Nelson the 7th round. His trainer in the corner in that round said, now let's go to war. I don't know what he's been trying to do up to now, but maybe there's a higher level.
Well, sometimes a change in language elicits a different response. I don't know what Nelson can do other than what he's been trying. He's just faced with the prospect of fighting somebody who's a little bit rangier, considerably quicker, and is going to beat him to the punch most of the time.
Jabs that Pernell Whitaker's throwing.
Well, he's put on a clinic in that area.
Oh, he's really doing a number on Azumah Nelson with the jab.
Good right hand by Whitaker, followed by a right hand by Nelson. Pete comes back with a right of his own.
The thing about speed, you must understand, it nullifies power, strength, everything. It just totally nullifies it.
Why?
Because you get your punches in so quick, you break the rhythm of the opponent, and it frustrates him. And this is what's on the face of Azumah Nelson, frustration. He can't get set. He can't get his balance. Pernell Whitaker keeps turning, keeps giving angles, throws combinations, ties his man up. He's doing everything right. A good fight for Pernell. Excellent, I must say.
Nelson, incidentally, will not lose his super featherweight championship, even should he lose this bout. He has the option of going back down to 130 pounds and fighting the winner.
This is the kind of type of fight that Pernell Whitaker believes the public wants to see. A tactical fight, scientific fight. Give him a show. He feels that he's an entertainer.
Nelson would have the chance to fight a winner of a bout between Jeff Fennick and Juan Laforte to retain his title.
It would be a lot easier for Azumah Nelson because these guys' hand speed is nowhere near that of Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, this was a tough assignment, to move up in weight against a faster fighter than just about anybody in your division.
Look at the jab.
The jam.
Pernell Whitaker and the nearly 50 jabs per round, or in fact a little over 50 jabs per round, of which he's landing close to half of them. That's the way he fights. Those were his punch stat numbers coming into the bout.
What's giving Nelson problems is the fact that Pernell Whitaker has those great legs. Good bouncing. A lot of life to him. Pernell Whitaker is one of the few guys, fighters rather, that can punch a guy other than Camacho and get behind you.
Well, obviously, he has it all, with the sole possible exception of punching power.
That may come as they continue to develop and they continue to fight. And again, with the weight program, they can make a difference. But it's something that will take place down the road. It's just like with Holyfield, Evander Holyfield on the weight program. He's a lot stronger, but I never thought Evander was weak anyway.
Of course, strength doesn't always translate to punching power anyway.
It does not. It builds endurance and what have you. It depends on what kind of program you're on.
Punching striking power is a mystical thing that has something to do with leverage and timing and a few other things that not even all fighters understand.
It's like speed. You don't build speed, you create accuracy. You don't actually build power, you build strength, but you don't build the power. That's technique. I see here that Pernell Whitaker is a leg man. I can tell.
Yes, he's been a leg man all night long.
It's a big giveaway.
Trading punches at close quarters. One of the few times in the round that Nelson has been able to find Pernell Whitaker. By and large, Whitaker's just been too elusive for him. And now as round 10 comes to a close, we're going to take a look back at something significant in the heavyweight division that took place on the undercard here. Just about an hour and a half ago, the veteran Greg Page out of Louisville, Kentucky, had a chance to continue his comeback to prominence in the heavyweight division, headed toward an apparent probable fight somewhere along the way with Mike Tyson. But the apple cart was upset by a journeyman from Los Angeles named Mark Wills, who pounded Page with wild punches through most of the fight until here in round 6, he landed a couple of roundhouse right hands that set up that. And after that, referee Carlos Padilla stopped the fight, even though Page was able to get up before the count of 9. And we presume, Larry Merchant, that that means Greg Page probably won't have a date with Mike Tyson at any time in the future.
Well, there's another opinion about that. Some people think that now Mike Tyson will be only too happy to fight Greg Page, that somehow he qualified for a challenge after that being knocked out. It's interesting, after his record in recent years, that in Tyson's proposed comeback, that they wouldn't hear of getting in the ring with Page because Page apparently handled him fairly well in sparring in Tokyo before the Douglas fight.
And the big question at ringside after this debacle this evening is, how could he have looked good against Tyson in Tyson's training and look so bad here? Well, maybe it says as much about Mike Tyson as it does about Greg Page. You saw, incidentally, at the end of that tape replay, the face of James Buster Douglas, the undisputed heavyweight champ, who is here watching at ringside himself. And now we return to round 11 of live action between Whitaker and Azumah Nelson, and Mills Lane wants to talk.
Come on.
Solid right hand landed inside by Nelson, and Whitaker seemed to jump backward for a second. Again, Whitaker reaches for Nelson's leg, and Nelson responds with a left hook. Mills Lane, district attorney from Reno, Nevada, doing a little litigation inside.
There are signs of desperation in Azumah Nelson. One or two things could happen here, Jim. In fact, he could land a big punch, or either he could be knocked down because he's just walking in. And he's missing a lot of big punches, Azumah Nelson is. When you miss those kind of punches, it takes so much from you. He landed a big punch there. I don't know whether or not it seriously hurt Pernell, but it got his attention at least.
It was high up on Pernell's head, on the temple. And now Nelson simply wrestles into the canvas.
Talking about the physical strength, no question about it. Azumah Nelson is a lot stronger, but the technique of Pernell Whitaker is a lot better. Good left.
Solid left hand from Whitaker. Incidentally, should you have any doubt whatsoever, Whitaker Whitaker stripped to the canvas was not scored a knockdown. That was, of course, a slip. Nelson still throwing wildly inside, and he's landing some of it.
But it's like 11 rounds too late. He's way too long to get this attack off.
Well, both of Azumah Nelson's last two title defenses ended in 12th round knockouts. But in neither of those fights had he been dominated the way he's been dominated here.
Make it miss, but make him pay. You understand? Now listen, do your little counter with him when he fires that crazy ass right in at you. You understand? And bang, right back. But keep him on outside now. You understand? They done won this fight. Now keep him winning the fight, but don't get fancy.
Time is time.
When he gets inside, he's trying to go crazy. Let him throw you down. Let him throw you down. That's eating the clock up. You understand?
3 minutes. Tiger, let's go, Tiger. Let's go, Tiger.
Harold, how do you have it going into the last
Larry, 10 rounds to 1, 109 to 100, favor of Pernell Whitaker. He won in every round except for the 11th round where Nelson roughed him up a little bit, but otherwise it's all Pernell Whitaker.
I have it 9 rounds to 3. 8 rounds to 3, sorry. Maybe I'm anticipating what's going to happen here in the 12th round. It's an interesting fight. It doesn't have any great drama to it, but as I said before, it does have some passion, and Whitaker is putting on a really good show.
And Azumah Nelson continues to stalk to try to get the big comeback knockout in the 12th. He landed a right hand, and he's landing with increasing frequency.
Now, see, one thing about Pernell, he's starting to stay strong. Whether he wants to knock out Azumah, in fact, he's trying it right here. He should stay on the outside.
Of course, his stablemate, Meldrick Taylor, caught a lot of flack in the boxing press for failing to stay away from Julio Cesar Chavez in the 12th round of a fight that he had apparently won on the scorecards. And he wound up on his back at 2:58 of the round.
You can see what Azumah Nelson's trying to do, what punch he's trying to land. He's cocking that right hand back. He's telegraphing it. He's trying to get so much leverage behind it. But Pernell Whitaker has not cooperated.
Solid right hand landed to the face of Whitaker by Nelson, but Pernell apparently able to take it. Comes back with a left-hand lead of his own.
And he's still taking those little shots. And again, Azumah Nelson's trying to land that big punch. You can see the fatigue has set in because it's been an incredible pace for both fighters. But also, Azumah Nelson is strong of the two.
Fatigue isn't going to stop Nelson's desperate charge, nor will it stop Whitaker from continuing to lift his right leg.
The reason that Pernell's doing what he's doing is trying to get a breather.
And I believe that referee Mills Lane took a point away for Whitaker on that. I'm not
sure. He did indeed. He took a point from Whitaker.
He's trying to run that clock down. Pernell Whitaker is. It's boxing. That's all he has to do right now. Use those legs. Use that ring. Hands up. He must keep those hands up.
It was just about at this point that Taylor got in trouble against Chavez. Not going to happen here.
Both fighters push themselves to their limits. Whitaker has a much wider limit right now than does Nelson.
Well, we mentioned before the fight that Pernell Whitaker was the slightly larger, considerably younger, and unquestionably quicker man. And certainly he took advantage of the quickness throughout the fight, using his hand speed, his exceptional footwork, and his boxing skills to land consistently with the jab, set up other punches off the jab, to, for the most part, beat Nelson to the punch and contribute to increasing frustration on Azumah Nelson's part that led ultimately to him swinging wildly and hoping for a knockout in the 11th and 12th rounds. It was all in all a pretty impressive exhibition for the world lightweight champion, right?
It really wasn't the age that made the factor. I think it was the style, the techniques that Pernell Whitaker was able to execute.
Harold Letterman, your final scorecard for the 12-round championship fight.
Larry, Jim, I had it 117 to 110, 10 rounds to 2, decisively for Pernell Whitaker. We do have 2 British judges here tonight, and I'll say this much. If I had to generalize, I would say British judges do like finesse fighters. This was a beautiful finesse job by Pernell Whitaker. No doubt that Pernell should win this fight.
And of course, you saw the 8-point round in the 12th on Harold's card, reflective of the fact that 1 point was taken away from Whitaker. And now we go to Chuck Hull for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the judges. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Harry Gibbs scores the bout 116, 114. Judge Dalby Shirley scores the bout 116, 111. And Judge Sid Nathan scores the bout 115, 113 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the WBC IBF lightweight champion of the world, Pernell Sweetie Whitaker.
$116 to 114 and 115 to 113. That's a lot closer than I think several of us at ringside would have expected it to be. Right, Ray?
It was much more of a dominant fight, the way I saw it.
Final punch count statistics. Whitaker throwing more than 200 more punches, in fact 250 more punches, landing at just about twice the percentage of Nelson. And of course, a lot of that was the tremendous effectiveness of the right jab, the southpaw Pernell Whitaker. Larry Merchant is with the champion right now.
Okay, Sweet Pea.
Along with Main Events and Don Chargan Productions, brings you a co-featured bout scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the red corner. Wearing red trunks with gold trim, he's fighting out of South Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His weight, 132 pounds. His record, 24 wins, no defeats, 10 wins by way of knockout. He is ranked number 8 by the IBF. Welcome the undefeated fighter known as Frankie, the Matador Mitchell. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the blue corner in this 10-round bout, he is wearing white trunks with blue trim. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, his weight 130 and 1/2 pounds. His fine record is 20 wins, 3 defeats, 2 draws with 8 wins by way of knockout. Welcome the fighter ranked number 10 by the WBC, Edward Pee Wee Parker. The referee in charge now to give instructions, Mills Lane.
Okay. Now, if he goes right here, I'm not going to call him up. Fair enough? Okay.
And as the boxers listen to the instructions of Mills Lane, you see the decisive advantage for Mitchell, 2 inches in height, 6.5 inches in reach. Mills Lane, a busy man the past 24 hours. Last night he worked his 41st championship fight in Las Vegas as Pernell Whitaker defeated Azumah Nelson. Edward Pee Wee Parker, 24 years old. He grew up in Tule, Texas, in the Texas Panhandle, now lives in Houston. with that record of 20-3, 2 draws, 8 by knockout. And Frankie Mitchell, 31 years old. You may wonder why only 24 professional bouts, 24-0. He says he's had several long layoffs. And his most recent bout, early April in Philadelphia, in a wild brawl, Mitchell stopped Kent Hardee in 7. Mitchell had to overcome a deep cut in his scalp, which was opened by an accidental butt. This is scheduled for 10. These are junior lightweights.
You have to think right off the bat. Hardee, Pee Wee Hardee, every time he fights has a reach disadvantage. He's so little. Pee Wee Parker, I'm sorry, I spoke. Right off the bat, you can see that he's got sort of that Tyson come after you aggressiveness, where he's throwing long hooks from outside, trying to get to the body, trying to wear out Frankie Mitchell.
Yes, Parker likes to crouch low, comes forward, throwing those big overhand punches along the lines of the style of Mike Tyson. Scoring on the 10-point must system. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. There's no standing 8, and the bell saves the fighter only in the final round. Judges Bert Clements from Reno, Doug Tucker of Carson City, and John McSwino out of Reno.
Pee Wee Parker very busy, landed 2 zinging hooks, landed right on the jaw of Frankie Mitchell. He took them well. They don't seem to, either man doesn't seem to be punching with a lot of sting and power. It's just that there's an awful lot of punches coming out of Pee Wee Parker.
Mitchell is strictly a counter puncher. He claims that his punching power has improved in recent fights. So looking over at his corner, checking with his trainer, Jimmy Arthur.
So far this round, Pee Wee Parker has fought the fight that he wants to fight, standing right close to him, smothering anything that Frankie Mitchell can get off and landing effective body shots.
Mitchell told us yesterday that he wants to stay close to Parker throughout the fight. He is at his best inside with those short punches.
Well, if that's what Frankie Mitchell wants, he's certainly going to get accommodated here.
And that will do it for this opening round. Can you come back with Parker? I want to deal with the cocaine. Mitchell of the gold, say the red with the gold trim, and Edward Pee Wee Parker and the white with the blue trim. Parker's last fight, February 26th, at the Forum in Los Angeles, a 12-round no contest with the veteran Refugio Rojas. Rojas had been inactive for 15 months. Parker actually won via decision, but it was ruled no contest because he tested positive for cocaine. This after a so-so effort against Rojas. And Pee Wee Parker spent time at a drug abuse center and is subject for random drug testing over the next year. Over the last year, most of Parker's fights have taken place in Los Angeles and Mexico.
Much more effective punching from Mitchell. He got chewed out in the corner by Jimmy Arthur. cornerman he listens to. This guy that's worked with champions like Mike Rossman and great Philadelphia fighters like Kit Hayward. And he said, you're not doing any fighting. What's the matter with you? Get those short punches off. And he's done that. He's gotten short, effective punches, and the uppercut, which we spoke of at the top of the show, has landed several times effectively on Pee Wee, who keeps coming on without any regard for defense. He's just coming straight in.
Just past the midway point in the second round from the Lawler Event Center in Reno, Nevada. First part of our boxing doubleheader coming up on Sports World. It will be John Molina from Fajardo, Puerto Rico, defending his IBF junior lightweight title against the former champion Tony Lopez. It will actually be the rubber match. They have met on 2 occasions and they have split. They come off that wild scene in Sacramento last October. And now Parker scoring to the head of Mitchell.
Pee Wee Parker's relentless. He just, from any angle, he throws punches. They're all wide. Mitchell should be able to step inside and really shoot some short punches that jolt him, but he just is getting overwhelmed by the energy and strength of Pee Wee Parker.
Coming up on 10 seconds remaining in the second round. Again, Parker able to unload and finishes with the flurry. Mitchell looks confused and he keeps looking over at his corner.
It looks like he's in trouble.
Instructions. Can't hear. We can't hear. We're getting commercials. Now we got it. Now we got it.
You got to manage the ball because you won't throw up. Man, I can't fight for y'all like this train. You got to hustle. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't next 2 miles. You ain't doing a damn thing.
Very good. Marv Albert with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. We are on to round 3, and in the corner of Frankie Mitchell, his trainer Jimmy Arthur said, I can't fight for you, I can only train you. Very upset with his performance over the first 2 rounds.
He said the man's bending over. All you got to do is uppercut him. He won't throw it. Well, he threw a few at the beginning and hit him right on the jaw with it, but then he quit doing it. He quit doing it because Pee Wee Parker got inside and smothered everything he tried to throw.
Made reference right at the start of this significant bout. Both fighters. Parker ranked 10th by the WBC in the junior lightweight division. Mitchell 7th by the WBC, 8th by the IBF. Both looking to propel to a title shot.
You know what may turn out to be one of the factors in this fight is that Frank Mitchell just came in a couple of days ago and did not adjust to the altitude here. And what happens is after about the 3rd or 4th day, all the air goes out of you. Well, this is the 3rd or 4th day, and he may be thinking about that and saving himself because he certainly hasn't fought with brio, with style, with strength first 2 rounds, which Pee Wee Parker has taken on my part easily.
And Parker has been training here. There are some that say that's purely psychological.
Well, yesterday when we were in the room with us, with Tony Lopez together with Frankie Mitchell, Tony told him, listen, I always come, if I don't, then in the 3rd or 4th day, I just completely deflate. And here he was listening to it, and his face just fell. And I thought that's a heck of a psychological factor to carry into this fight.
Most important, though, Ferdy, how have you been affected by the altitude?
I've been in great shape, Marv. All the restaurants are catering.
Just under 1 minute to go in this